Hi, I'm Gardjinn, and I'm just making some audio notes of my training as I study. The psychology of childhood and youth. Introducing psychology. Psychology is the science of the mind and behaviour, an academic discipline and professional practice that aims to understand and describe and explain how people think, feel, and behave. It also aims to apply this knowledge to achieve the best outcome for children and young people and the worlds in which they grow, eat, play, learn, and socialize. To do so, psychologists study many domains of life spanning the social, the biological, and more. Many people think first of mental health when they think of psychology, and mental health is an important field of psychology inquiry, explored in more details in Chapter 6. But it is certainly not the only one. Psychology spans domains across the social and natural sciences, and one way of representing the aspects of life psychology covers is shown in the 5 pillars in Figure 2.1: developmental, biological, cognitive, social, personality, and mental physical health. Developmental psychology is shown on the left of Figure 2.1. Developmental psychologists examine how human life changes over time, whereas earlier conceptualizations assumed development was complete on researching adulthood. Developmental science now understands that change occurs over the whole lifetime. As people learn news, check skills, and change in response to life events such as childbirth, new roles and relationships, bereavements, mental or physical illness and recovery, and more. The definition of childhood and youth itself has also extended beyond the age of 18 years to encompass the early 20s, a very active time of development. It is also understood that pre-birth development, both genetic and environmental, can play out in a childhood and youth. When focusing on childhood and youth, development psychology addresses children and young people's change over time and the factor that influence this. However, not only development, but all the domains of psychology shown in Figure 2.1 are relevant to childhood and youth. Looking at the other pillars, biological psychology examines bodily processes that affect development, as well as a sensation, human consciousness, or our awareness of ourselves, our thoughts, and our feelings, and includes neuropsychology, a branch of biological psychology considering the impact of brain function, the nervous system, and hormones, among others. Cognitive psychology, or the psychology of thinking, spans perception, memory, cognition, and intelligence, and aims to understand how children and young people. And then Figure 2.1, integration, developmental, lifespan development, learning, change over time, biological, sensation, neuroscience, and consciousness, cognitive, cognition, memory, intelligence, social and personality, social, the self-personality, emotion, motivation, mental and physical health, health and ill health therapies. Cross-cutting themes, culture, disability, gender, religion, socioeconomic status, etc. Hello, I'm just making audio notes of my training, so hope it's interesting for you. Oh, you're gone. Process information and learn social and personality psychology includes the study of emotion and motivation, individual differences on personality, the self, and the social processes in human groups and societies, and therefore explains individual feelings and differences and how we function in groups. Mental and physical health psychology examines variations of human well-being. Finally, at the base of the diagram, you can see cross-cutting themes. These refer to many individual, social, cultural, and other diversities that are also crucial features of childhood and youth, including, among others, age, gender identity, sexual orientation, ethnicity, race, culture, national origin, religion, disability status, language, socioeconomic status. You have learned about some cultural and social differences in childhoods in chapter 1, and we'll learn about many more in the coming chapters. In addition to these, ethics are important as psychological research and practice is always bound by ethical principles similar to the injunction in medicine, first do no harm. These pillars indicate that ways that psychologists generally research children and young people's lives and development as if they considered of separate topic areas, as indeed we do in this reader, yet it may well have occurred to you that none of these aspects of human experience takes place in isolation. Whether considering children and young people's families, schooling, early relationships, bodies, physical development, or mental health, these many psychological domains need to be understood as coexisting in the same person, influence one another to create behavior, experience, and change over time. As an example, we might consider a child who is struggling to make progress at school. How can we understand this? It might make logical sense to assess their overall ability to concentrate or to process information, perhaps their reading ability, their intelligence, or capacity to learn and adapt. But with caution, see later in the chapter, although understanding these cognitive psychological factors can be vital, there might be other factors affecting the child's school learning. These might include, for example, their social, economic, emotional abilities. Are they able to understand their own emotional states and regulate them? Can they form positive relationships with peers and with teachers? Or perhaps their mental health, they experience anxiety that impedes their ability to learn. As the previous example suggests, multiple psychological factors might be found within any given individual. However, psychological factors are also found in the environment around them. For example, psychological research has shown that attitudes and expectations held by others, such as teachers, can affect children's capacity to learn. Such attitudes might be about gender. Do teachers believe that boys are inherently better at maths and girls better at reading? If so, research shows that may implicitly or even explicitly teach differently. Based on their later on in chapter 8, you will learn how teachers' beliefs about disability change the way they respond and teach disabled children. Equally, teachers' attitudes about social groups can affect children's ability to learn. Teachers' beliefs about ability and gender, social class, ethnicity, or race have been shown to affect how they teach and support children, and you will learn more about this in chapter 7. Similarly, attitudes held by parents and wider community can be relevant. For example, whether school-based learning is valued or not, and influence children's own attitude to school. Furthermore, external factors that may seem quite distant, such as economic inequalities in society, can have a profound effect on children's capacity to learn. For example, when children come to school hungry, this affects their ability to process information and to concentrate. Overall, therefore, the psychology of the childhood and youth is a web of interconnecting factors, and when learning about any one of them, it is important to bear other potential influences in mind. Key points. Psychology consists of many different domains spanning mind, brain, and behavior. Developmental psychology is a key area of psychological study of children and youth. Developmental factors that interact with one another. Oh, I love taking my breaks when I'm reading. In school, they call them